going to switch right over and talk about, yes, a big celebration coming up. Juneteenth is coming up. And we're all going to be there, right?
Yes.
Good. Good to see you, Walter.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Yeah, he was, you were named, older American of the whatever, one of those things. I remember seeing him, so that's right. Yeah, good. Recognized by the county, right? Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
Miki. Miki and Betty are representing the Hamilton Arts Center, and Walter you've been with Community Fathers forever, haven't you?
Yes,
We
yes.
started it.
Right, I was one of the founders.
You were the founders, that's what I mean, forever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Good.
We're still there.
Yeah, and I know that when we talked about Juneteenth, and I mentioned this to Miki and Betty, that I always find that when you do the veil, I find that quite good.
Yes.
And that's, where are you starting out with it? You're not going to be starting with veil, you're going to be starting with,
No, we are.
oh, you're starting with veil.
Starting
Yes.
with veil.
Okay, and that's going to be on what day? Friday?
Friday.
June 17th, Friday, June 17th.
Okay, good. So, what are you going to do at veil?
Well, this year we're doing Kwanzaa in June.
Kwanzaa in June?
Kwanzaa in June.
How does that work?
Well, that works because what happens is that, when we have our Kwanzaa
You mean like
festival.
Christmas in July?
Yes,
you're doing
yes,
Kwanzaa in
yes,
June?
yes.
Okay.
That's where we get the idea from. But the thing is that a lot of times people don't understand that this is not something you just do once a year,
Right.
light and blow out some candles. This is a value system that we need to institute in our community.
It's cultural,
Yes,
very cultural.
yes, yes. And it's about the fact that it was created before Kwanzaa there was the 7 principles that was actually called the Nguzo
Well,
Saba.
the professor, wasn't it a professor
Well,
that
He created the
the
Kwanzaa,
yeah.
but it had already been done.
He solidified it.
Imam Baraka actually started talking about a black value system under the Nguzo Saba, and then he put the celebration of it during that holiday period.
Okay, and
That's
I
what
know,
Karenga did.
Miki, you were on it at the holidays and talked about Kwanzaa and the candles and the food and the.
Celebrated
yeah,
every year.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Betty, how are you involved?
I am not involved in the 17th, but I will be there. And if they should need me for something, I'm there. I think last year I did something last
Yes,
year,
yes.
but we honored, oh goodness,
Warren Mackey.
Warren Mackey. We honored, his family was there.
So I see Juneteenth, and thank goodness it's a holiday now, and
Yes.
stamped and
Yes.
it's there, right?
Yes.
Recognized.
Yes.
Good.
Right.
But I see that as not just party, but a serious side to it, which when you do the Vale Cemetery and honoring different people. And I think it's important to have that aspect of it, but also the celebration. Who doesn't like to party?
Right.
So how are you partying this year?
Well, this year, on the Saturday, the 18th, we gather at Central Park. We have activities going on all day
And music.
and music. Betty is in charge of the stage. She organizes the entertainment from that perspective. I organize the pavilion, which has workshops and different kinds of opportunities, dance.
And they have informational booths as well, usually.
Information booths, vendors.
Food, what about food? I
games.
love food.
All kinds of food.
All
All types of food. Last
Yes.
year was first celebration as a legal holiday. And believe it or not, Ann, we had at least 4 times as many vendors as we've ever had.
4 times, wow.
So there
You
was
take-
all types of food.
So when I come to Central Park, you're going to be by the pavilion and also the main stage?
We're gonna be in the whole hall.
You're going to take over the whole
We're
place.
gonna take the whole
Party on.
We've got bicycle people there giving away bikes and doing little shows for the kids and fixing their bikes, and I mean it's just something to do at every step you make.
And what time does this start? I just want to get the.
Sure. The program at the stage starts at 2. The activities throughout
You're
the park
usually
start
earlier
at
than that.
1.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 'cause
Yeah.
you're usually earlier. And-
Yeah, so we start at 1. Excuse me, the vendors get there early to
Of course,
set
they gotta
up.
set up.
And there is still room for more vendors. So
Okay.
if anybody's listening who would like to come out and vend.
Are you gonna have any of those like peanut soups and things like that that are very, very traditional?
We are having soul food,
Okay.
ribs and chicken and collard greens and those kinds of things.
There's an
Love that stuff.
There's an Italian vendor that's
Yeah.
gonna be there with her, you know.
And you know, the Italians are
So
big
we
on
got-
greens, whether they're collard greens or any kind, we're eating greens.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So there'll be plenty of food, there'll be plenty of entertainment, there'll be sack races for the kids.
Oh, so there's gonna be involvement for
Oh,
the
yeah.
kids.
Oh, yeah, it's a family
Oriented.
occasion.
Family affair.
Now, should people bring their own chairs, or what, are you, because it's a music haven stage, so there's chairs there,
There's
but
chairs
what
there.
about if they want to sit on the grass or something, how do
Yeah.
they?
Well, you know what, they have now instilled seating where it used to be all grass. So there's seating for everyone on the hill, but a lot of people like to bring their own chairs and get at the top of the hill and just make themselves comfortable with their cooler and,
Oh, so they can bring their own cooler if they
can
wanted
bring
to,
their
yeah.
cooler, it's still
I mean, if you got
Central Park.
6 kids, sometimes you gotta give them Cheerios and stuff to keep them quiet.
Yes.
Exactly. But you can also bring like your family group stakeout table,
Oh,
a picnic table in Central Park and have your own sort of location and then range all over the park to enjoy
and then
the
get your treats at all the vendors.
Right.
Exactly, because we want to support the vendors that are there, they're bringing their things. Walter, are you going to be doing at the Vale Cemetery, talking about the burial area as well?
Yes.
Because you have done that in the past.
Yes, we always do, you know, we always try to have Moses Viney,
He's
who was the
there.
runaway slave, be a part of whatever's going on. And so this way, because we have to connect the dots. It's a question of how does everything historically move together in terms of the evolution of a people. And this is very important because even with the Juneteenth and moving into that part in Central Park, it's really about the family. You know, it's not, you know, you're going to get some entertainment, but it's not to have a party. It's for people to come together and for them to socialize.
Community, like a
And to
community.
commemorate
Yeah.
who we are. And the fact is that sometimes we were the last chosen to be free. And this becomes very important.
Because that's what Juneteenth is all about,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And that, what surprised me, and I think Miki and I had talked about this before, freedom was out there. It wasn't until, was it Texas was the last one? I mean, and look at what we were just talking about with Camp
Yes.
Logan.
Yes. Well, you see, this is why it's very important that people come out so that they can participate in the living history. Because we're not just reenacting, just like the play is not just reenacting, it's to awaken the memory of who we are and what we have gone through being here. And especially as we move into the turn of the 21st century, when if we're not careful, we can go backwards in a minute. So
We're
we
finding
have-
that out with women,
Oh,
with women's rights, aren't
Right,
we?
right. See,
I'm
but,
waiting for them to take away our vote, you know,
but
who knows?
But
you
but
know?
again, too, it can easily happen. We almost saw a whole governmental
voting,
system,
yeah.
right, go down and switch up and become a dictatorship here.
Exactly.
And so we have to be there to be able to represent freedom and express what it actually is. Because somebody says you're free, that doesn't mean you know what it means to be free. But they learned what it was because it's not just somebody telling you you're free, it's your ability to interact with your world that makes you free. And you can't be.
that's, I
Yes.
love what you just
Yes,
said.
yes, see, you can't
Because
be free.
that is true.
Yeah, you can't be free unless you're equal. And this has been the major problem, is the question of equality. And what happens is sometimes things get hijacked because when the civil rights movement started, It was about equality, being able to go to restaurants and eating with everybody else because you were paying the same. And all of a sudden, the media called it integration. So they switched the language of what was going on.
Rather than equality,
Right.
they talked about integration.
Right.
And that makes it a bad word.
Right, but what it
Right?
did was, it made people think that black people just wanted to be beside white people, as opposed to the fact that we
just want equal
rights.
rights.
That was it.
Well, you know what always disturbed me, and maybe it was just me as a kid or young person, when they kept saying, well, the schools are, what did they say, separate but equal?
Yes, yes.
And that doesn't work.
Right. But you got to remember, the Supreme Court said that the Negro had no rights that a white man had to respect.
When did that happen?
That was a part of the United States Supreme Court decision.
When was that?
Well, this was right.
I did not know.
This-
I am learning
this-
so much
this
today.
This was after Reconstruction, okay? When the Jim Crow...
You're free, but we don't have to pay any attention.
Right. You're really not free
You're not
because we're saying to you, you're not equal. So if a white man says
You're
something...
free, but not equal.
Right.
Okay.
But you see, because the freedom...
I'm processing, I'm
Well,
sorry.
freedom was used loosely because it was never considered in terms of people of color. Freedom was a word that was usually meant for white Christians. Okay? So we're into a whole nother thing, but...
Yeah, no, I'm with you on this
But
one.
Okay.
while we have time, I do
Yes.
want to
Yeah, we have time.
say a few other things
Yeah.
about Juneteenth. that-
Excuse us for digressing.
No, it's important. So, and that is, those kind of discussions are part of Juneteenth as well. But I wanted to say, we've been celebrating Juneteenth for 22
I know you
years
have,
now.
yeah. You've been on the show almost every year talking about it.
Yeah, right.
And I've been doing the show 25 years almost, so there you go.
There you go. So it's become a tradition, and traditions are so important in our community. 1 year Juneteenth didn't occur, and I would run into people all over
When
the
was
place.
that? Did I?
This was the year I retired and someone
Oh,
else
and it
was
fell,
hired.
yeah, it fell through the cracks, right?
Well, it was
Yes.
a decision by the
Executive director then.
yeah, the director at that time.
Of Hamilton Hill Hearts? Did
Yes.
that?
1 year, that was all.
1 year, and then I said, you know what, I'll do it myself.
Good for you.
That
Good for
year,
you.
but,
Yeah.
but what happened is a lot of people would stop me, you know.
Say, where is it?
And say, what happened to Juneteenth? And it was then that I realized what an important part of the beginning
It
of
was,
the
it's
summer
important.
Juneteenth had.
I always look for it, I think it's great, yeah.
I was getting phone calls the day that Juneteenth should have been.
Saying, what
going
happened?
on.
Where is it?
Where is everyone? You know, who's going on?
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes it only takes one person to
Yeah.
mess things up, but I mean, I don't know that they messed things up, but I have no idea
They did.
what went on back there.
But it was a
And I'm not
lesson.
gonna go there, but we didn't talk about Sunday.
Right, so Sunday is a special day. The Art Center was given funding by the Schenectady Foundation to build a sculpture park. There were vacant houses across the street from the Art Center. And they cleared the land.
It's a sculpture
cleared the
park now,
houses.
right?
Now it's a sculpture park. So the grand opening, the unveiling of the sculpture, which is a sculpture of Ogun, and I'll tell you more about that in a sec, but it'll be the unveiling at 2 o'clock on Sunday.
Okay.
But there will be celebratory activities going on all day. It's at 412 Schenectady Street.
Right across
Just
from
right
them.
across the street from the Art
Yeah.
Center. And
It's street
it's
parking, right?
another-
Street parking?
Street parking, you can also, there's limited parking in the
Yeah,
Art Center's
there's not a lot of
parking
room
lot.
there, yeah.
So, it's another collaboration with Community Fathers, which is, we
Father's Day.
enjoy collaborating
Yes.
together. So
Yes.
it's Father's Day, and Ogun in African belief systems is considered the father of civilization.
Oh, okay.
So we're
Learning a lot
celebrating
today.
our
Oh, hey.
community fathers and the father of civilization by the unveiling of this.
Got so much going on. I'm going to just say who's coming up at our next show. We're having the Harbinger Theater coming on, and they're doing a play called Exit Strategy, which has to do with the school. We're going to talk about Music Haven, great concert series in Central Park. That's where you're going to be at, is there. The Schenectady Rotary will be on. We're going to be talking about their cornhole tournament, which should be really interesting. We're going to talk about Summer Night, and we're talking about the Old Stone Fort and Museum in Schoharie. So we cover everything. So we can come back and talk a little bit more. We have about a minute and a half here. So I want to tell you to keep going with this and don't let this drop. Now, you got somebody to pass it on to if you,
We're working on it.
you know, because that's what happens.
Right.
Unless you pass it on or get people involved. I mean, it happened with Kids Art Festival. Karen Johnson was really into it, but she had, she got ill and passed away. But we ended up getting Betsy Sandberg that took over. So it's important to have that one other person in there.
Each year, we work on that, as we said. We try to find someone that can, be there. Last year, actually, there was someone else that needed to be in Miki's place because she wasn't with us last year.
First year, I wasn't there.
First year, she wasn't able to attend, but it was a family thing. So we missed her, but I mean.
Keep it going.